Every week I have a growing collection of multi-tools that are continually coming in the mail from Amazon, eBay, AliExpress, and all over the place. So it is very unusual that I find some multi-tools or a tool that I have never seen before. But this is one that I had never seen, and so I grabbed it up. Is it the best tool ever? No, but it is definitely very interesting. And then this one I had seen before, and I had wanted to take a look at it. And so we will also take a look at this right here. Now, the gentleman who designed this, he has a lot of history in the multi-tool world, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, when we look at this tool right here, when we open it up, the pliers are nothing special. They are very generic. They say stainless on them. It's pretty much a very similar design of the plier head that's been around since companies began copying Leatherman, in the 90s or so, maybe the 80s. But yeah, since the first clones have started coming out from the PST, this essentially, the plier head reminds me of that, but it's the handles where the magic is. Now, take a look at this. They have these very different pivots as well. Different times companies will try the gnarled pivot screws to exactly copy Leatherman. This is a little different, very shiny handles, but again, we have the Leatherman style handles, except these seem extremely short, and you'll notice that the implements, wow, go out like that. And there's a unlocked and then a locking. Now, I haven't really messed around with this much, so I guess that's in the locking mode. And then you would have to pull this over, and then you pull it out of that notch right there. That's interesting. So it actually, when you extend it, it goes into that notch because I think there's a spring, and then it locks into place. So this tool right here, I don't know if it even worked. There doesn't seem to be much of an edge on the can opener. Probably, yes, you could use it to open bottles as a bottle opener. I don't think the end here, they might have tried to go for almost a screwdriver type design, but it doesn't look like it works that well. But I am very fascinated with how all the tools are almost like the Gerber keychain tool that had a similar mechanism. And then I think it was Keyport or one of those keychain tools tried this design for a little bit as well, to actually put your keys in there and then extend them. On this side, there is a screwdriver. This would worry me right here with how thin that metal is, and then the bottle opener. So they do not intend, let's see, we'll push this over, okay. Push it down, and then there's the knife, and a very, very small knife that is. Now with this knife, right away, I see that that's sort of an issue because it would be hard to use it that way. So you will have to open the handle up. So it probably would have worked better to have this knife facing the other way, but with the tools on this handle, they seem to face the inside. I guess they expect you to open the handles. And the last tool on here is a fishing descaler, which seems a very odd choice. This is made from Perfect Solutions. The box is very generic right here, obviously made in China. They show the tool right there. I do want to get into dimensions and weight, which I think is the beauty of this tool right here. What I like about this tool, even though it is not, the implements are not good necessarily, but I like how they have taken a plier-based multi-tool. They've made it very small, very compact, and then they've just gone with what they consider as 4 essential elements or tools. I don't know that I would necessarily agree with them, but I like this design. Take a look at this. This is only about 3¼ inches or around just under 9 centimeters. So it really falls into that pocketable range. I wish they had added a pocket clip. It would have been interesting to see how they integrated that into the design. But yeah, even though it has so many flaws, these tools right here really fascinate me because a lot of these tools are about 5 design changes away from being perfect. Yeah, there's maybe a lot of issues, but also I feel like on this tool, they got a lot of things right. The material, the pliers, and the inner tools all need upgraded. I'm not sure that this mechanism right here is strong enough to handle the tools, but I really like the form factor, and it's a pretty cool tool. Now on the end here, with today's multi-tool world, this definitely is a missed opportunity to have almost like a hammer end, like on the Goat tool in the Free series, where they have it on the plier side. I think this is a missed opportunity to put like a hammer end on this side. Now, potentially, I guess if you were hammering, you could misalign how these tools come out, so that might not be a great idea, but maybe even have a hammer mode that would flip out like the Gerber armbar series. But very cool design. Before we move on, I just wanted to show you the weight on this tool. It's very, very light. When we go to ounces, it's 3.5 ounces. See, this is what I'm talking about. Some of these older tools I feel like got so much right, and these new companies need to reach back, look at some of these old designs and just slightly revamp it, and you've got a winner. 3.5 ounces and only 98 grams. Now, I know I'm probably more excited than 99% of the rest of you about this tool, but yeah, this has some real potential to make some changes and make it into a pretty cool thing. One of the beautiful things about looking at old tools versus new is that you see design cues of what is coming in the future and how maybe a tool maker had an idea. Maybe they almost got it right, and then eventually someone gets it right. And the tool that they meant to make or thought about making or almost had that brilliant idea, and maybe they couldn't quite get there, someone uses their design or just the design of the industry as it progresses and makes something that really, really is outstanding like Roxxon did. Now, this next tool was designed by Blackie Collins, and he unfortunately has passed away, is no longer with us, but his designs are with us, and he will definitely be remembered in the multi-tool community. Probably his most iconic design is the Saga Para tool that lasted for years and is still a pretty great tool. I actually really like the Para tool. Now, the other tool that keeps nagging me, because I know this is another design, it needs slightly revamped and it would be a winner. Essentially, someone needs to take this tool and make this a utility knife and then make this a little bit of a better opening plier head, and you've got a solid multi-tool. He made this for Meyerco, I believe is the name that this was made under. And then this tool right here, he actually made for Case, the Fix-It, and it says right there, designed by Blackie Collins, Case & Sons, Cutlery, Bradford, Pennsylvania. Now, this tool is also very similar in design to some extent. This is one of those tools where you actually have to, let me see, there we go. You undo this, and then you actually can tighten this down in place. So it is not necessarily an easy or a quick deployable tool. It takes some work, but it's sort of cool how that works. And then on the other side, you have a Phillips. So you keep this in the middle to keep it totally deployed. You've got a Phillips, and then you tighten it down to use it on that side. And then you loosen this up. And then on this side, you've got that flat edge right there. Very different tool, but I love that he tried new things. And I feel like in the current climate, sometimes people get ridiculed for their designs, but hey, I mean, I don't know. I think it's cool that new tools come out. Gerber gets a lot of flack for designing new things, but hey, give it a try. Now, this is your knife. Again, you go ahead and tighten it into place, and then you move this back in place, and it becomes almost more like a pry tool, what it looks like, or a large screwdriver. Not sure that's necessarily meant that way, but in today's world, I could definitely see it being used for that. Here's another Phillips, and then a flathead as well. What a cool design. Now, I think where this sort of maybe failed is that this was designed as a standalone tool. And with these knobs right here, I think it's a little bulky. What it should have been used for perhaps a little bit more successfully was a belt buckle tool. I can see that being a little bit more accepted, but belt buckle multi-tools unfortunately are not that popular. I think part of the reason is you have to be brilliant to make a great belt buckle multi-tool. SOG, I think, did the best with their Sync 1 and 2. I used to wear that a lot, but yeah, I just got away from it because I ended up, I think, forgetting it was there a lot of times. And then many times it's too small for what it needs use for, or I would use it for. But yeah, very cool design right here. And I just wanted to show this to you, adding this to my collection. Is it the greatest tool ever? No. And he made some many other designs. I just saw one, I think today on eBay, a knife gun tool with foldable Allen wrenches. Forget what the name is exactly, but I like these unique tools right here. Pretty neat. And just thinking about multi-tool designs, and as much as people might say, oh, well, it's a failure, but a lot of times these tools are stepping stones to something that actually makes it.